I'm sure we had too many other places we would have been, but we chose to come here and share the seminar about our fears. So thank you for making time to be here this time. Before we start today's session, I'd just like to make a few announcements. For one, we are recording the event, but it's mostly focusing on the speakers. So if you have any reservations, just let us know and we'll deal with that. Also, there's a sign-up paperwork for going around, I guess, and that's for health and safety. Should anything happen in case of a fire, we know how many people were in and they're all out safely. The other bit is, before we delve into the actual speaking, I'd like to hear 1, 2, 3 expectations why we came here. So I'll try and pick randomly if you allow me. So you just need to, you can greet the audience from where you are and then say what you expect from this day's seminar. And then the speakers will feed on to that. If you allow me to start, I'll pick on Paul. To say what your expectation is today and what you'd like to see from here.
I do worry quite a lot, so it would be quite nice to have information about sort of coping strategies. That would help, you know, sort of positive thinking to get around the negative thoughts, just to quieten the little voice in my head would be good for me today.
All right, so yeah, I've got that, like how to deal with worry and how to any coping strategies. So I'll ask for a volunteer from this side. Anyone? Any expectation?
It can help me get over my anxiety and lack of confidence more than anything.
All right, okay. So that's anxiety and lack of confidence. No? Thank you. This side. Option 2.
Hi, I'm Leandra, and I would like, from this session, how to get over my fear of public speaking, because I want to be a motivational speaker, but I have this problem with speaking in public. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
All right, okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, my name's Stephen. The reason I'm here, the long version is that I've decided to become a public speaker, a paid public speaker. I speak at various places around London. But I'm getting paid for it. And I read Andy Hamilton's book that my mother read. You don't want to spend 2,000 quid on somebody's course if you can get connections somewhere else. Then I saw you guys at this AEC Speakers Competition. And I thought, yeah, I've got to see these guys, I've got to know these guys, so that's why I'm here today.
Thank you for that. Okay. All right, so we'll, unless someone else wants an opportunity, we'll move straight on. I'll just recap on what we did last month. Last month, the discussion or the seminar was about setting goals. And all the speakers spoke about how you set your goals, the things, the mindset that you need, and the kind of goals you need to set. And one of the things that came up that was stopping people from setting their goals or achieving their goals was fear. And that's why we built up to this second seminar to talk about fear and how to address the different fears we've got. And by addressing those, then we should be able to either attain our goals or at least come close to attaining them. So in today's seminar, we'll be having 4 speakers, 5 actually, as you see from today's program. I think everyone's got one. We'll be having Kamie, who will be speaking about why we face fears. Then we'll have David Daniels next. I'll introduce him as he comes to speak. Then we'll have a break. Then we'll have Nick and Dana speaking on the second session, and John DeBoer after that. And then we'll have a question and answer where you'll have an opportunity to ask questions and give suggestions if you so wish. So if you now allow me to introduce the first speaker. The first speaker of this morning is called Kami Ebisweri. I've known Kam through the Speakers Club. He's spoken in different events, and the most recent one was on Wednesday, the last week. We were speaking in Barry, where he actually won a contest. So the person you're about to listen to is very well known in the Suffolk area. So I think you're in safe hands. On top of that, he's actually written a book, and the book is called The 3 Lessons That I Learned from My Dad. So this book will be available there for purchase if you wanted to. And as I welcome Kam will be speaking about why we face fears. This is a question most people want to know. And in his speech, he'll be sharing about how he's been able to overcome his fear of public speaking. So please welcome Kam as he comes to speak about why we face our fears.
Thank you, Moses. How many of you here have ever wanted to do something, but for one reason or another, boom, fear stopped you right in the face? Anyone? This is exactly the audience I've been looking for tonight. But before I even start, first and foremost, I would like to thank all of you guys for coming this morning. And why am I thanking you? One of my friends who was supposed to be here this morning called me up and he said, "Come, I got so drunk last night I can't show up." So you guys, like Moses said, you could have been anywhere, but you've given us your time to come and listen to us. So I'm very, very grateful that all you guys are here. 2014, I was working as a security guard in London, working crazy hours. And this particular night, I was on my break, and then I started asking myself some really, really serious questions. And the first question that came to me was like, "Come, is this what you would like to do for the rest of your life?" I was feeling lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And today I haven't got so much time, I'm not going to go into the details, but what I did, I went to a 3-day personal development seminar that was coming up in London. And this was conducted by Tia Veka, who is a motivational and inspirational speaker. When I got to this event, there were about over 1,000 people. But one of the things I noticed with all those people is everyone wanted more out of life. Everyone wanted to do something that would give their life a sense of meaning and fulfillment. Some people actually knew what they wanted to do, but guess what was stopping them? It's that universal reason that happens to all of us. The number one reason people don't go after their goals and dreams, it's the fear. The first day into the seminar, this guy came up on stage, and when he came up on stage, he started to speak. 35-40 minutes into his seminar is when I got my aha moment. That still small voice spoke to me. "Come, you want to be like that guy on stage. You want to inspire and motivate people to go after their goals and dreams." And after that voice, that negative self-talk, that internal editor kicked in. "Come, being a motivational speaker, you haven't got a PhD in communication. Who's going to want to listen to your poor African accent? do you know what it takes to set up an event like this? And the voice kept going on and on and on, and it never keeps quiet. But because there were so many people, and the energy was just crazy in the room, all of a sudden I was like, now shut up. This is what I'm going to do. And by the end of the 3 days, I made a decision that I wanted to become a motivational and inspirational speaker. The question was, what was I going to start? What was I going to get a training? And that fear is what creeps up all the time when we start going after our goals and dreams. So the question is, why was my desires, that still small voice, saying, you want to be a motivational speaker? And the negative voice was saying, how are you going to do it? You haven't got the skills, you haven't got the education, you haven't got the support. That was the analysis paralysis I was going through. So I'm going to take you to this part. So why do we face these fears? The first one is instinct. We've all heard this being said. When we were born, we've got no fears. And then we come into this world. So the first one is instinct. So when you want to step outside of your comfort zone, when you want to do something that you've never done before, the first thing that hits you is that fear. No one knows where it's come from, it's just natural. It will just come out. You've never done this before. And it doesn't matter who it is, this will always creep in. So one thing I want anyone to take away from today is, when that fear comes up, just know it's normal. And what do I mean by it's normal? Normal is an occurrence that happens in daily life. So it's instinctive. It's going to come up. And let me tell you something. If you think you're going to step into your goals and dreams, if you think you're going to step outside your comfort zone without experiencing any fear, I'm here to tell you, you're going to be waiting for a very, very, very long time. All right? Now some of you saying, "Come, you're so intense." Okay, relax, take a deep breath. I didn't come to preach today. I came for someone's breakthrough. When I went to that seminar, some of you, that same small voice is going to speak. It will say to you, yes, go after your goals and dreams. And boom, that instinct will kick in to try and get you down. And I'm not going to go into the psychology, because Dana is going to talk about the mindset that you're going to need to conquer this fear. So, and I can't wait. So, when that comes up, you acknowledge it. Then the other thing is, fear sometimes is also taught. How many times have you been in places where everyone is fearful of a certain thing? And because they're fearful, it's just subconscious, you don't even know, you pick it up. I'll give an example. I've got 3 kids. So my daughter, who is 9 years old now, she's fearful of dogs. So when my younger son was growing up, and my daughter, because she was running away from dogs, they are also fearful now. They cannot get close to anyone that's got a dog. And that's how this fear sometimes creeps in. We just don't know. Environment as well. So environment, this is this is one of the strongest things that will steal your goals and dreams. What do I mean? How many times have you had a great idea that you know will change your life? And then you went and said it to small-minded people. What do they say?
It's not going to work.
Exactly. They will start coming up with all sorts of things. You're crazy. It's never been done before. How are you going to go through it? So this environment is very strong. So if you've got goals and dreams that you'd like to pursue, my advice I'll give you is find like-minded people that will support you on those times when you feel low. Find like-minded people that will support you on those days when you're just about to quit. We've all had that saying. The average of the most 5 people we surround ourselves with, and always the negative is more stronger than the positive. In fact, I heard someone say, when someone says no to you, it's never been done before. You're going to need about 10, 20 yeses for someone to say, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. That's how strong environment is. So be careful who you hang yourself around with. So what happened then? Some of you are probably now asking, so what happened after that seminar? This was in April 2014. I said I wanted to be a motivational speaker. 2015, April 2000, I started going to seminars and reading books, but I didn't do anything much about it. 2015 went. 2016, I joined Ipswich Speakers Club because I wanted to improve my public speaking skills and I wanted to overcome that fear that stops us all from going after things we would like to achieve. When I joined Ipswich Speakers Club, I can remember the day I walked through those doors. I didn't know anyone. And when they called me up, we do what they call like table topics, like impromptu speaking. You're given like 2 minutes to speak on a topic that you don't know about. Thank God that day I was given a topic about something I could speak about, probably because I was new, so they let me off. But the moment came when I had to give my first speech. It's called your introduction speech, where you come and talk about yourself. Why did you join the Speakers Club? And I stood up to give my speech, and I wish someone could see I had to hold on to that lectern, like my life depended on it. And what happens when that happens? All of us, we start to step into our fears. Like when I was on that lectern. Do you know what happens to most people after what I went through? Okay, guys, I'm a kind of guy, so if I ask a question, feel free to give me an answer. Yeah, feel free to give me an answer. I want some interaction here. I just don't want to be the only one talking. So if I say something, yeah, exactly. If I say something that hits you, I want you to say, yes, come, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. And I'm going to test you. Yeah. So I'm not going to remind you, but I'll test you. So, most people, when they hit that fear, they retrieve. I've been in the Speakers Club for 2 years. And my question I've always asked myself, why do people come to the Speakers Club for different reasons? To become more confident, to improve their public speaking skills, maybe they're going to give a dinner speech, maybe they've got a wedding and that's what they come to. And they come once and they never come back. We never see them again. It's that universal reason we're talking about, fear. And thank God I came back and came back and came back. And let me tell you something. Someone asked me, oh, come, you're very confident when you speak. You're very articulate. I say, it's not always the case. I had someone say, see, sometimes you have to do it with your knees knocking, teeth chattering,
Yes.
and sometimes a couple of butterflies in your stomach. And that's what you're going to have to do day in, day out, day in, day out. Do you guys know, when you drop a pebble in the Atlantic Ocean, do you know that the entire Atlantic Ocean has changed? But guess what? You can't see it with your naked eyes. And that's what happens when you start stepping into your fears. Something inside you happens, but you can't see it. And you keep doing it, something inside you happens, and then you wake up one day and you're a completely different person. You've changed, you've evolved, you've transitioned into the best version of yourself. But it happens in needle point moves, needle point moves, needle point moves. But most of us, because we don't say it, we start stepping into our goals and dreams, boom, something hits us, and then and we give up on our goals and dreams. So 2016, 17 went, 18 went, and then 2018, I thought to myself, come, you're sharing these speeches in the Speakers Club. When are you going to tell them to the entire world? So I made a commitment that I was going to start my first public speaking seminar. And that was set up for July 2018 last year in this same place. Let me take you on the night before the seminar. I was in bed at night, and the internal editor talked to you about that, talks to us all the time. It kicked in again. Come, what if no one shows up tomorrow? Come, what if you get up to stand up to speak tomorrow and your mind sits down? Come, what if in the middle of your speech, one by one, and all of a sudden, boom, a quote came into my mind. That's why I love reading. It's from Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar was a motivational and inspirational speaker. And his quote says, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to start to be great. Absolutely. I'm loving this audience. So what did I do? I said to my negative self-talk, thank you for sharing. Now shut up. I'm going after my seminar. If no one shows up, I'm going to talk to those chairs and the wall. See, sometimes you gotta talk to yourself. In fact, I had someone say, the best conversation you ever have is the conversation with yourself. Because if you don't talk back to that negative self-talk, most of the time it wins. That's why you have to talk over and over and over again. It's possible, it's possible, it's possible, it's possible. Whatever mantra you want to come up with, but make sure you say it to yourself every day. Because at the end of the day, that negative self-talk that we talked about is instinctive. It's natural. If you think that heavens are just going to open up and say, oh, it's going to be a smooth ride, it's not that kind of party. You have to talk to your negative self-talk all the time. So what happened? I was able to do that seminar that day, and it was starting at 11 o'clock. It's funny. 5 past, I don't think anyone had shown up. 5 past 11, and it was supposed to start at 5. We had about 3 people at 5 past, and one of my colleagues who was supposed to do it with, he was like, come, what's going to happen? People are not coming up. And that fear again started kicking in. And then I said to him, even as fearful as I was, I said to him, James, let's start the seminar with those 3 people who've given us the time. If we're waiting for the whole room to fill up, we might be waiting for a long time. And guess how many people showed up on that day? By the end of the seminar, 21. And Sue was one of them, Moses was one of them. 21 people showed up that day. Even all with all the circumstances saying they were not going to show up. And that's what sometimes you're going to have to do. By the end of the seminar, everything went great. I never lost my material, like my voice was telling me that night. So that's what fear does. Someone defined it as false evidence appearing real. It's not, but in the mind, people say also, yes, fear to the body and the mind, it's real. You experience that physical. That's why we have anxiety. That's why we get all the panic attacks. So many things are going on in the mind, and we believe them to the mind, to the body, it's true. Even though it may not be true. Was it true? In my instance, yes, maybe no one could have showed up. But it didn't happen. 21 people showed up. I could have cancelled that seminar because of that negative small voice, but I didn't. So by the end of 2018, I had already done 3 seminars. But let me tell you what happened after I did those seminars. We set up a public speaking event seminar with Moses at the Speakers Club at the university, and there happened to be one gentleman from BBC Radio Suffolk who invited us to go and share what we'd shared. And from then, we thought it was just a one-off. But what happened is, I ended up being called again to go to BBC Radio Suffolk to offer a motivational message that just takes people through the week, and that was in November. And I can say every Monday I'm on BBC Radio Suffolk for about 5 minutes, every Monday, to offer people a message that takes them through the week. I just come up with a topic. The other thing that came out was one of the guys invited me to speak to his Christmas dinner, which I went and did for Christmas. Another thing is I shared, like Moses told you, 3 lessons I learned from my dad. And it's funny how things work out. Someone who happened to be in the audience after said to me, "Come, that was a great message. How about you write a book from the 3 lessons you learned from your dad?" Even though Moses doesn't still believe, he says I learned more than 3 lessons from my dad, but that's another conversation. So on the 27th of December, I was able to bring my book out, and that is obviously available on Amazon. The other thing is, I've been invited to go and speak to a networking group in May, and this is going to be an event. It's called Ladies in Property. The thing is, I don't even know what I'm going to speak about, but I had to say yes, even with that negative small voice saying, "Come, are you going to talk to them? You've never spoken to that big event." The most people I've spoken to is about 50. This is going to be over 100 people. So why am I telling you all this? Is the question. I personally believe if I had not set up that first personal development seminar, all these things I've told you about, they never would have happened. My book, I would never have written a book. I never even thought I'd write a book. What does that say? One thing I've realized is, when you step into your fears, when you step outside of your comfort zone, that's when luck, fate, coincidence, concurrences, synchronicities and serendipities begin aligning themselves that will help you bring your goals and dreams into manifestation. I personally believe when you step into your fears, it's like, I don't know what your faith is. God, universe, universal intelligence. It's like it says, sorry, what's your name? What's your name?
David.
David. Yeah, it's like the universe says, David, he's not gonna quit. Let's go find another way. And you don't have to know how they work, but I know they work. Someone called them mysteries of the mind. All you have to do is step into your fears, even without knowing the result. You guys can testify to this. When we set up the Inspirational Collective to do these seminars, the last seminar, we were debating ourselves if we wanted to extend counseling because we got the room late and we had about 3 days to advertise it. And we were saying, shall we cancel the seminar? So this happens to us all the time. Even us, even if we were 5 of us, we said, shall we just postpone the seminar? But again, what was going on in our heads? It was that fear that stops us from going after our goals and dreams. I heard someone say, the comfort zone may be a safe place, but it's a dangerous spot. Everything that you want, see, we all have a box. And if you realize everything you need, everything you ever want to achieve, your dreams, your heartfelt desires, the rewards, the unknown territory, your breakthroughs, anything that will take you to the next level is outside your comfort zone. For as long as you're in your comfort zone, nothing is going to come from it. As long as you're in your comfort zone, be rest assured that you are going to stay the same. I heard someone say as well, most people prefer known hells than pursuing unknown heavens. So if you want to step into those fears, you're going to have to take some risks. And when you take that risk and stepping into your fears, a couple of things are going to happen. One, you're going to hit yourself hard and step down, or you're going to hit yourself hard and still with all the energy you can conjure, still get up and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, until you get the breakthrough. And that's the journey that I say is never ending. It's something you have to go through every single day. When you wake up in the morning, just say, I'm ready to face my fears. Because after all, they come up every single day. So you might as well talk to them as well every single day. When you wake up in the morning, don't delay. Just say, I'm going to step into my fears. Just something quickly. When I went to that personal development seminar, the breakthrough what happened is, the speaker on the third day, they brought out, bam, you see this is broken? It was like an arrow. They brought them out loads, and what the speaker said was, everyone is going to break this with their neck, with their... So what you had to do, so you get your colleague, and you both put it on that part of the neck, and you walk into each other. And when the speaker said that, the whole audience, you could sense the energy in the room dropped. People just wanted to walk out of those doors. And that's how strong fear is. But what happened is, everyone was able to break one of those. But looking at it, that's how fear is. When you look at it, when you feel it, it's like it occupies the entire world. But once you step into it, at some point, if you keep knocking on that fear, even with your knees knocking, if you keep knocking on that fear, even with your teeth chattering, if you keep knocking on that fear, even with a couple of butterflies in your stomach, at some point, you will get a breakthrough. Quick story I want to share with you. 2016 took my kids to Butlins, and we went to one of these really high rides, and it starts out rotating in slow motion, and then it picks up speed, and all of a sudden it goes So get on it. I tell my daughter, let's get on the ride, and the first thing she said is, Dad, I'm not getting on that ride. So I asked her, Brina, why didn't you want to get on the ride? And she said, because it's scary. So what I did, my other daughter, by then she was 2, we got on that ride and we had such an amazing time. But this is what happened when we get off the ride. My daughter said, Dad, I want to jump on that ride. And I said to her, I thought you said you didn't want it. And she said, but you just been on it with Brisa. And this is what, if I forget anything, this is what I want everyone to take away. Anything you want to do, anything you want to achieve, I want you to find someone who's done it and speak to them so they can take you through that journey of how they were able to overcome that fear. And that's what happened to my daughter. She saw if her young daughter, if her young sister went on that ride, her conversation was like, why can't I go on that ride? And that comes back again when I say how important it is, that environment, to help you into stepping into your fears. But again, I'm going to warn you as well. Just because you get someone doesn't mean they're going to do anything for you. You have the responsibility to step into your fears. Because if you don't, no one will step into your fears. You said you want to be a public speaker, right? Can you please come here? Let's give a round of applause. What's your name?
Leandra.
Leandra, nice to meet you. I'll come.
Nice to meet you, Cam.
Leandra, I'm going to, this is why you came here. I came for someone's breakthrough.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a minute. Yes?
Oh no.
Yes. She's going to help me for this, but she'll let me after.
I'm really getting fine just sitting there. I thought,
Yes.
I'm breathing, Leandra.
Yes.
I'm breathing. I can
You'll be
feel the fear in the room.
Yes, you'll be fine, and this is what we all have to do at some point. I'm going to give you a minute, and I would like you to just introduce yourself and tell us anything you want to. So I'm not, the pressure is not on, so anything. And I want you to, I'm going to give you some coaching now while we're here. So
Okay.
someone once was going on stage, and they were so scared. They said, what am I going to speak about? And then the speaker told him, go and share someone's story. Go and talk about someone. Can you talk about anyone, a friend, or anything you want to talk about? I'm going to give you a minute. The floor is now yours.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Leandra. I'm a kitchen designer at the moment, but I'm wanting to be a motivational speaker. for schools and colleges, for young people, to motivate them to, you know, to literally do whatever they want, because I don't think they get enough support from the society that we live in. So today I'm going to talk about someone that has been. He's not actually here today, and I think it would have been great for him to be here. I've been working with him for quite a long time now. He is actually my partner. And yeah, as I said, it would have been great for him to be here, because I think fear is a big thing, especially for me and other people around me. Now, I feel like my fear has come from a little bit of being around him quite a lot, because he is very fearful for a lot of things. He's been taught in life to be afraid of everything and not to do anything, not to pursue anything. It's just easy to sit in your box and just stay there. And I think before I was okay at public speaking, but I think through the years of being with him, it's kind of, like you said earlier, the energy has come to myself subconsciously, and now I've picked it up. So I have a big problem with public speaking. I think I'm doing all right now at the moment. Thank you. Usually when I get up in front of a big crowd, I literally start to shake and get really sweaty and literally think I'm going to faint and pass out, but I'm not doing too bad in front of this crowd, so it's okay. I think it's all of you though, you're really helping. The energy in here is really good as well, so that's really helpful. And the reason I came here is because of John, actually. John and me started speaking in the gym, and we were introduced through a mutual friend, and they actually told us that, he actually told me that John does similar to what I want to do, because it is my dream, it's my passion, and it's something I'm going to do. There's no question about it, it's going to happen. One day you're going to see me out on TV, motivating the world. And John told me about this and said it would be really beneficial for me to come. And this is literally like my first step, because I had a public speaking thing that I did at the hospital for One Life Support. I don't know if you guys know what those are, but they help people with like smoking or losing weight. And I went up to speak, and it was only a small group, not smaller than this. And I literally was shaking, sweating, and I was like, I'm going to pass out. Almost passed out, I'm not even going to lie. It was really bad. But yeah, so I thought this would definitely be beneficial. It's a shame that my partner can't be here, because I think it would have really, really benefited. Even if you've only just started, but it's great, it's really good. Is Mum out there?
Fantastic. Let's give a round of applause. Wasn't that fantastic? That's it. What did she say first? She said she was so fearful, and she gave an absolutely amazing. When I first stood up to speak, I was like that, very articulate, and that's what happened. So thank you so much. What a way to wind up my speech. Oh. See, this is why I love doing what I do. What she just done took me back when I joined Ipswich Speakers Club. I was fearful. I'm actually running out of time, so I'm going to wind up. I would like to leave you guys with a quote from Dr. Howard Thurman. He was a mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King. And this is what he said. The ideal situation for a man or woman is to have their family members with them on their deathbed. And he went on to say, imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and surrounding you are the dreams, the ideas, the abilities given to you by life. And for whatever reason, you never went after that dream. You never pursued those goals. You never acted on those talents. You never acted on those gifts. And here they are standing around your bed with large angry eyes saying, we came to you and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And of course the question is, If you died today, touch wood, it doesn't happen. What dreams, what goals, what ideas, what talents, what books, what art, what voices, what leadership qualities will die with you? It was great serving you guys tonight. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Con, and thank you, is it Alejandra?
Leandra.
Okay, thank you. I think the phrase I took from that message was the comfort zone is a very safe place to be, but it's really a dangerous place to be. So if you're feeling safe in our jobs at the moment, or we need to think ahead and see what's next coming, where's the industry is going, and things like that. So our next speaker is going to be David Daniels. And David is going to talk about how his fear, which was shyness, how his shyness held him back, what happened when he decided to face his fears, and what helped him in overcoming his fears. And in this, he might share one or two strategies on how to overcome your fears. David does claim to be a shy person, but he doesn't come out as such. So he'll probably be a shy person inside, but to the outside world, he doesn't come out as such. David has also written a book that's called From Shy to Facebook Live. And this is also, I believe, available on Amazon. And there's a copy or two there. If you want the ones that are signed, it might be £5 more. But please welcome David.
Sorry, my kids are here. I wanted to sit up front. Firstly, I just want to, maybe he's gone, honour Cam. I've known Cam for 4 months in a natural time. I've never seen anyone so dedicated to their craft of public speaking. He's got 3 children like myself, so I know how challenging it can be managing work, family, and your passion outside of work. So Cam, just want to dedicate you and salute you for your craft and what you're doing, and the results are speaking for themselves. So today, I want to speak to you about my biggest fear, the thing that held me back the most, what I've done to overcome it, and hopefully 1 or 2 tips that can help you, that you can go away from here and apply straight away. So my story is quite powerful, it's also quite an emotional one, so I may get a little teary-eyed just to warn you during my talk.
Do you need some tissues?
No, I'm good. I've practiced. But before I go there, I want to have a bit of fun. I like audience interaction. I'm not going to pick anyone in particular. So one of the things I'm going to do is play a game with you guys. So it's going to be an image-based game. Anyone familiar with the game Catchphrase or Dingbats or anything like that? So basically, there's going to be an image on the screen, and basically you just say what you see. So this is the first one. You can speak amongst your partner, put your hand up, shout out. What do you see?
Four-wheel drive.
All right.
For those who are catching up, what is it, Nigel? What is it?
Wheel.
Yeah, that's it. There's 4 wheels and drive. 4-wheel drive car. Right, from the next position. Okay. Anyone want to have a guess at any of these? There's 3 separate images. Shout out. Sounds like quite lively. Very good. You said football. Fantastic. Sharp. Last one, anyone? Wow, you guys are good. Yeah, Mike Potter there. So the first one, like Nick said, you've got the kiss, it's in the French colours, French kiss. I'm really impressed. This one, this is supposed to be, you can't see it, 12 inches. 12 inches equates to a foot, football. and then life is after the word death, life after death. If you go back to that one. So I chose these images for a specific reason and not just at random. These, I'm going to talk around about some of the fears I had in my life. So first one, French kiss. So when I was about 10 or 11, I went on my first holiday. It wasn't to Butlins, but it was to Haven, a similar holiday park. And it was up in Caisson, not a million miles away, Great Yarmouth. And during the day, we'd go out swimming, we'd go to the beach or what have you. But in the evening, they had evening entertainment. So you played bingo, you had someone come and singing. And on one particular night, I had this contest. It was you had to be 007, you had to be James Bond and go on a rescue mission to save the girl. Don't ask me how or why, I don't even want to remember, but I somehow ended up being one of these competitors. I had to be 007, I was having to navigate over chairs, weave around people, and at the end of the mission, you had to go on the stage and there was a beautiful lady there that you had to rescue. So I did all the navigating and what have you, got to the stage, beautiful lady, to finish the mission, you had to kiss her, and at that moment, I froze. I just stopped absolutely dead because of this underlying fear, which I'll share with you in a moment. Moses is already touching it. Football. I'm gonna digress a little bit. So, because my two kids are here. So one of the proudest moments of my life is a couple of years ago when I bought tickets to watch my children come with me to Ipswich and play football. So I have to apologise to them because both times we've been Ipswich haven't scored a goal and they've lost. So I need to be very careful about the next game I take them to. I don't want to put them on football. And the reason it was so significant for me because my dad left at a very, very early age. I only saw him 2 more times, and the second time was at his funeral a couple of years ago. So I didn't have my dad going around. So to be able to take my kids to football was a really significant moment for me. It's something I would have loved to do with my dad. Growing up, I absolutely loved football. I'm a Liverpool supporter, just get that out there now. I'm sure you could tell by the accent. But one of my favourite players growing up was a guy called John Barnes. Now, 2 reasons why I really respected and looked up to John Barnes. One, he was an amazing footballer, a really skillful, gifted footballer. The second reason was he played at a time when there was still a lot of racism in football, to the point he would play and have bananas thrown at him while he was playing, and I just really admired his strength. He let his football do the talking, and I really admired that about him. I played a bit of football myself. I like to think I was quite good. I don't know how far I could have gone because of this underlying fear. And this one here, a lot of people have a fear of death. But for me, for the majority of my life, I had a fear of living. If you can put the next image up. This kind of reflects how I used to feel. So what was my fear? Already Moses is touching it. So my fear was speaking. Not just public speaking, speaking full stop. And that equated to shyness. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So shyness, it literally dominated my life. Shyness crippled me. For the first 4 years of my life, my mum will testify to this, I barely spoke at all. I had to have quite intensive speech therapy. I was very unsure of myself. I was facing a lot of internal battles, and obviously we live in an external world. Very insecure, didn't know who I was, what I was here for. And unfortunately, when I was at school, that got picked up on. So there was these 2 particular boys, and one of them decided to give me the nickname David Dealey, a really affectionate term. And they used to constantly bully me, and I used to internalise a lot of stuff, but there's only so much I could take, and one day it reached boiling point. So I was in the classroom playing with some Lego, and I don't know what to do, they were bullying me, and I flipped. I ended up actually trashing the classroom, throwing tables, chairs, all over the place. I completely lost it. And following from that, I had to have ongoing counselling. I'm going to show you a picture. This is me. Oh. This is me at high school. Behind that smile was a lot of pain. Another fear I had linked to my shyness was photos. I used to absolutely hate having my photo taken. I'll do anything to avoid having my photo taken. There's a lot of family photos that I'm not in them or at the back or something like that, because I absolutely used to hate having my photo. One of the insecurities I had was about the way I looked. You can see I've got an afro. This was not of my choice. And unfortunately at the time, afros were not in fashion. So again, at high school, people picked up my insecurities about my looks. and I got bullied because of it. School, don't get me wrong, I had friends at school, but school was not a pleasant experience for me. Linked to that, I didn't know I don't know why I was studying GCSEs, I didn't have the motivation, I didn't know what my purpose was, so I struggled. I ended up going to college, but I kind of flitted in and out of college. And then, into the big wide world of work, and then that's just like school times 10. You're dealing with different people, different ages, different experiences. I worked mostly in offices, so having to deal with things such as office etiquette, office banter. I really, really struggled. Alongside that, I was a kind of an inspiring entrepreneur, trying many unconventional ways of earning money, all legal by the way, but they were quite unconventional. But just before I turned 18, I joined, it was actually my barber introduced me to network marketing, and network marketing is simply a way that you can sell products and services to friends, family, and people that you don't know, and you can also have people join your team and you can get rewarded for their efforts as well. There's actually a couple of people in the crowd today who are running successful network marketing businesses I can introduce you to in the break. So I joined this network marketing, but one of the main things of network marketing is to speak to people, my biggest fear. So I really struggled with this, not just with friends and family, but complete strangers I'd go and speak to. But one of the key things that was alongside this network marketing was that there was a personal development. So I'd be reading, age 18, reading books like The Magic of Thinking Big, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Who Moved My Cheese, and this really helped me. The other side of it was I started to listen to cassette tapes. Please tell me someone remembers cassette tapes. Thank you.
I remember vinyl.
See, vinyl's coming back, cassette's not coming back. Not yet, anyway. And I started listening to these public speakers. One in particular stood out, Les Brown. Some of you may know him as an American speaker. And that just planted a tiny seed in my head about the power a public speaker can have. So I started doing this. So over the years, I became to know myself, love myself, and accept myself. One of the big things that has helped me and continues to serve me is my faith. So as a child, my mum had to force me to go to church. I didn't enjoy it in any way, shape or form. As soon as she said I didn't have to go anymore, I stopped going. But over the years, particularly from 2004 to 2005, some of you may remember there was a tsunami, and then you had Hurricane Katrina. All these natural disasters kept happening. It just really led me back on the road to faith, to the point in 2010, I became a Christian for myself, and it's just the foundation of my life. I'm not here to preach about Christianity, but I'll be doing you a disservice on myself if I didn't talk to you about an essential part of my life. So my faith played a big part, having someone, a God who accepts me and loves me because he created me and he only wants the best for me. So over the years I became to know, love and accept myself. Started to get a bit more confidence in myself, started to overcome the shyness, but it happened over a slow period. Slowly, I started to deal with that fear. An overriding thought that I had over the years was like, what if I did one of these? What if I spoke? Just one occasion, how much of significance would that be? Going from not speaking at all to what's known to be, by a lot of people, the #1 most feared thing in the world. Second on the list is death, which is going to happen to all of us. That would be a massive achievement. But you see, for me, one of the labels I used to put myself was an outsider, a misfit. I do things a bit unconventionally. So I started thinking about this more, and my faith helped me come to the knowledge that all that rubbish I've been through, my dad not being around, just being totally bullied and all the rest of it, maybe I could start using that for some good. And I decided to choose public speaking as a route. So slowly but surely I started to unravel this fear, not for myself, but to share with the world. You see, one of the things that would have really helped me as a kid, if I went to school and someone had come in, wasn't my mum, or wasn't a teacher, and said, you know what, I've been where you are, I've been what you've been through, and I've come out on the other side, that would have really helped me. I didn't have that experience myself, but it doesn't mean I could share that experience of other people. So I started looking into public speaking training. I needed something that was a little bit of theory and then straight to action. I needed to push myself out there, out of that comfort zone. long story short, I joined an online public speaking group, and in July, like I said, I'm a bit unconventional, so I didn't go to a public speaking group. What I did, 23rd of July 2016, I picked up my phone and I shared my biggest weakness on the biggest social media site in the world, which is Facebook. I did my first Facebook Live video. And to date, I've recorded over 100 Facebook Live videos. Most of them are on YouTube. And like I say, I'm a little bit different. So when I was researching public speaking, I came across these people who had the word like inspire in the middle of their name, and they had these like superhero names. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to come up with a superhero name or something myself. I won't go through the process. Wonder Woman came up very briefly. I decided to use the Shy Man. I used the Shy Man because I still can't get over myself. I wanted to be quite bold and take that thing that was my biggest weakness, put it out there and show people that it's actually my biggest strength. And you know, when you fear your weakness, you don't often share it with people because you think it puts yourself at a weakness, they've got something to pin on you. If I took that, there's something spiritual in it for me as well, but if I took that biggest weakness and said, this is my biggest weakness, no one can do anything to me. I've shared with you my biggest, the thing that held me back the most. So I went with the Shy Man, and like I said, I recorded over 100 Facebook Live videos. I was featured on podcasts, I've been on local radio. I say all this not to brag, because I'm no superstar, and public speaking is a skill that anyone can learn, from the youngest to the oldest of us here. It's just a skill that anyone, and many of us are not taught this skill, which is, I believe, why we have a fear of it, the fear of the unknown. Later on, people start to ask me these questions. I mean, Moses said at the beginning, you're not shy, how can you call yourself shy? Take it, you know, change your name or whatever. And I thought about this, but that name means such a lot to me, because it's the thing that used to hold me down so much, but now I'm using it to elevate myself and elevate others. And this time, there's no limits. This floor took you to, lifted you to floor 2. With this, what I'm doing, there's no limits. There's no limits whatsoever. So the Shy Man name is very important to me, but I did think about it, so I changed the name. I changed the name to Shy Man Speaks, because I wanted to have like an action word in there. So the Shy Man Speaks. And it's weird, it's become my brand. So I've got a business called Shy Man Solutions, helping people with consultancy. I've got Shy Man Speaks, which falls underneath that. One day will probably be its own business itself. So it's actually turned into a bit of a brand and a bit of a niche. And in 2018, I have to say, it was an absolutely incredible year. Opportunities came up for me to speak at my church, to speak at work, to speak in training conferences. It was just an amazing year. And to finish it off, like I said, I wrote this book. I love reading books. My granddad had a library with his stamp in it, the Library of JFA Mensa. So I've always been into the books. Obviously, as a Christian, the Bible is the foundational book for me, but books have the power to change people's lives. And I've always had, maybe one day I'll write a book. I haven't got time to share the story how I came to it, but I wrote this book in a day. From deciding to write to publish it was 6 weeks. It was a very quick, a bit surreal how I've really taken it in. But what I've come to find out is I'm starting to kind of discover what I was put here for, my purpose. And it's probably within the thing that I fear the most, and that's the ironic thing. I still kind of pinch myself, but I just want to share you a little bit of page 37 with you. It says, on that morning I started writing the book, the 27th of November 2018, I believe I was given a clear statement of who I am to be in this lifetime, an encourager, supporter and facilitator of others. I am to educate the uninformed and to re-educate the misinformed. Everything I do needs to be in line with who I am. So, on my journey, I've learned many lessons, tend to fall into 2 camps. One is about mindset and one is about behaviours and actions. I'm not going to touch on mindset because we've got Dana and Nick coming up who are going to do a fantastic session on that. But what I'm going to talk about is some behaviours, and in particular I'm going to share 2 steps with you. One of them I've taken myself, I'm not going to recommend you take. The other one I wish was around, and this is what I want to leave you guys with to take away, because all of us are working hard. We want stuff that you guys can take away and apply. So the first step remembering how desperate I was with my shyness. I actually went to a hypnotist, and I wouldn't actually recommend this because I was putting my life, my experience, my trust in someone who was trained to manipulate the mind to a degree, and obviously they could have used that for good and they could have used that for bad. And to my mind, I don't believe it had any positive effect on me, but I don't know what effect. So it's a step I took, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend that step for anyone. It's just my own opinion. The second step, absolutely I would recommend, and it comes back to what Cam was talking about, environment, surrounding yourselves with people. And I absolutely recommend, whatever fear you have, find other people who have got that fear and work through that fear together. And there's an excellent website that I'm going to refer you to. It's called meetup.com. Does anyone know about meetup.com?
Yes.
It's a fantastic website. It's something so simple. You see, we were born to live in community with one another. And what Meetup does, it allows that to happen, but it uses the power and technology of the internet. So it's simply this. You go into Meetup, you find a like-minded group of people with similar skills, experiences, jobs, interests, and you join these groups and you actually physically meet up with these people. So if I was going back, if I had a website like meetup.com, what I would have done, I would have typed in shyness, and I would have seen if there was anyone there who was willing to meet up. It would have been quite interesting if I was trying to picture 5 or 6 people who were all shy. Who says the first thing?
Why don't you do that?
Sorry?
Why don't you do that?
I went on this morning, there's thousands of these. But on your point, if anyone you wanted to go in there and you type in something and your fear is not there, the other fantastic thing, you can start your own. But sometimes you have to be the instigator. And then others will come in. There's probably no fear here that anyone has that someone else hasn't got. And if you go on that site and there's no one in your area that doesn't share the same fear, you just have to modify it a bit. We've got things such as Facebook groups, WhatsApp, video clips. The internet has brought the world smaller, so if there's no one in your area, I'm sure there's at least one person in the world who shares your fear and you can share video calls or what have you. So, this fear I've got, I said, I started to deal with it. Then I started to unravel it. But the fear is still there. It's just smaller than what it used to be. But what's bigger is my why. My why is so much bigger now than my fear. And my why is, I shared with you my mission statement, but my why is, for Shine Speaks, is to speak in, to inspire and transform lives. You see, you guys are much more bigger than my fear. I do not wake up out of bed and jump to go on a stage. But what I've realised is public speaking is one of those few ways of sharing your message with potentially a lot of people at once. So I've chosen to use that to spread my message and to hopefully inspire and change someone's life. I call myself the private public speaker because though I've overcome my shyness, I'm still quite a private, introverted person, but I've learned that's okay, that's fine, that's who I am. And I'm not going to change for anyone, and I don't necessarily need to seek validation from anyone. So, before I finish up, I just want to share with you, some of you may not have thought about it this way. Like I say, I think of it unconventionally, so hopefully this will help someone. Your biggest fear, that thing that holds you back, it might just be the thing that sets you free. And one thing I want to kind of share, kind of a piece of advice. I'm hoping that someone from here, either a direct result of this event or it may be a seed that starts to water over time, will overcome your fear. When you overcome your fear, I just want you to just acknowledge how far you've come. See, one thing I'm very good at is doing. I'm a very good human doer. I do things. I wrote the book and then we joined the Inspirational Collective. I do. But we're designed to be human beings. So sometimes you just need to stand still, like myself, what I'm doing now. Look at the crowd and just acknowledge how far I've come. And that brings the wobble in my foot. And that's where the feel still is, because it's still emotional to me. but that emotion I can use. It's powerful, I can use it to help people. So I want to really thank you guys for listening. I'm going to hand back to Moses.
Thank you, David, for that inspirational talk. Thank you for opening up. It's not very many people. I personally don't think I can open up to my fears. It's probably an African way of bringing. We do have our fears, and one of my fears is fear of success. I don't know why, but I think as you get successful, the society will demand more and more from you. So you tend to go back. So hopefully by the end of this event, I should be able to deal with that. But David's taken us through a few interesting things. The one thing that stood out, or one of the things that stood out, is how you take your fears and turn them into your strength. This is quoted in many good books, including the Bible. Take your fear and turn it into your strength, and no one can use it against you. It's the same thing used differently when you say the weakest link. The weakest person is...
The chain.
Yeah,
The chain is the strongest as the weakest link.
Yeah, the chain, thank you for that. The chain is the strongest as the weakest link. It's the same thing, different phrases. So the other strategy it's given us is surround yourself with people with the same goals, same aims, so you can share and grow together. And then look for a strong why. If you find the reason why, as Carm I think shared in a seminar before, there was a lady, I think the baby had gone under a car or something, and the woman had the strength to lift up the car to get the baby out of. When they asked her how she did it, she said she doesn't know, she just knew the big why was to get the baby underneath the car. So as we go for our break, let's just reflect on that, and then after the break, we'll be coming up to Dana and Nick and John. They'll be giving us the second session of today's. So please feel free to have a drink and network between ourselves. So thank you.